You can't go on anyone else's trip. You can only go on your own trip until you find out it's all our trip. And when we get home, we all get back with great tales of trips, except we all took the trip together.
Cool. Damn, I haven't had a guest in a while.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Glad to be here.
This is McMuffin,
Hello, everyone.
or Thomas. How do you say your last name? Fraley?
Fraley.
Fraley. Thomas Fraley, a.k.a. McMuffin of McMuffin Entertainment.
Indeed.
I met McMuffin at K-Sound, and I talk a lot about Mike on this podcast because Mike's my favorite.
Mike's a G.
Mike's the best. Go watch the interview with Mike. He's the best. All right. So, what you been up to, buddy?
I've been, mostly now touring with James Murray from Impractical Jokers. And I'm running all the video and audio production for him. Other than that, I'm, working, trying to get a recording studio together and gonna maybe start a video podcast soon. So all kinds of crazy stuff. Lots more stuff in the works.
Hell yeah. How'd you get that gig?
So I was working through K-Sound. We had somebody who gives us a lot of gigs, Ethan. Shout out to you.
Shout out,
and
Ethan.
he was Murr's guy, and when he didn't want to do it anymore, he's doing a lot of movie stuff now.
Yeah.
So he now that he's doing all the movies, he was trying to transition. So he gave that gig to me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you are production managing and tour managing, or just production managing?
Just production managing. There
Okay.
is a tour manager, which is I'm very
Yeah.
happy for.
Yep.
Yeah.
So production managing and then doing all the video during the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I took the audio production because it's just two microphones, and then I'm handling all the audio's coming from my video anyway. So it was like for me to just take the two microphones, plug them into the video switcher. It was super easy, and
Hell
I just
yeah.
did it that way.
Hell yeah. How did you get into audio? You started with audio, right?
I started with audio actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
When I was in high school, the guidance counselor when I was a senior, I was friends with her son, so she knew me a little bit, and she knew that college wasn't a great fit for me. So she called me into her office and she goes, "Hey, I found a program that I think would be a better fit for you than actually going like to a college. I think you should take a look, see what you think about it." It was Audio for Electronic Media was the name of the course at OCVTS, the Ocean County Vocational Program.
Sick.
So I went my first year to that, which was after high school, and then after my first year, my teachers who both worked at the Saint, they were like, "Hey, come into the Saint, come take a look at the sound system, get acquainted with live sound," because we mostly did studio stuff through school. They were like, "Come get acquainted with live sound and figure out, whether you like that or not." And so I was like, "All right, cool. It'll be more hands-on experience. I'll go check it out." I was there one day with one of my teachers, and then I came one day on a Saturday when this guy Hinge was working. Shout out to Hinge. And he's definitely one of the best sound engineers that is in Asbury Park. And he was mixing a band called Chris Batten in the Woods. And I'll never forget it. The mix that night blew my fucking mind. And I was like, "Bro, I want to work in this room. Like, I need to figure out how to work in this room." So I, at the end of the night, I was talking to the owner, who I'd met now a couple times, and I was like, "Hey, how do I want to do a couple days in here, like just, like, can I pick up a day or two?" And he was like, "Well, nobody does Sunday, the matinee shows with the kids. It was always a Sunday during the day, all ages show with." I think it was Jersey Shows at the time was the promoter, which I don't think is a promoter company anymore. But I took over those Sundays, and I was just doing those for a while, and eventually I took over a night during the week. I think it was a Wednesday.
How old are you?
I was, when I started at the Saint,
Like 18,
I was
19?
17.
Oh, okay.
But I was about to turn 18. Like when I went in for my intern gigs, I was 17, and then I think when I started working, I was 18. I think that was part of the thing is I wasn't allowed to work there until I was 18.
Gotcha.
But then
That
I
makes
was,
sense.
so now I'm working in the field. Before I even started my second year of school, I had gotten a job in the field, and I kind of was all she wrote then because I knew just doing live sound. I knew that I loved the trial by fire nature of get it done and you better do it right and you've only got so much time to do it.
Yeah.
But I also love the idea of like in a live environment, small mistakes go unnoticed a lot, and also they get forgotten 10 seconds later because the show is actively happening.
Yeah. I think like the show must go on mentality is my favorite part about it. It's taught me so much about like life.
Exactly.
It's like don't fucking harp on these small dumb little things, and that's like I feel like corporate environments get so distracted with like these little small things when it's like, okay, is the show going on? Like, are we like if you make fucking metal, like is the metal being made? You know, like, is it like or whatever. Like I don't know. People get so distracted with dumb shit. But hell yeah. So how long you work in a venue?
How long have I wait?
Did you work in a venue?
Oh, well, so I worked at the Saint for I worked there for like 6 years or 7 years. I was still freelancing other places and whatever.
Yeah.
I think before I took my next big gig after the Saint, I think I was there for like 5 years where I would take like little freelance stuff, but I really worked at the Saint primarily.
Yeah.
Until I started working with a band called the Mataree Band. I worked with them on the street of Cookman during this like street festival, and I loved their music. So I was like, hey, if you guys ever need a sound engineer or whatever, call me. They had one, and I didn't know. His name was Brett Smith, great sound engineer from Asbury Park. And they called me up 12 hours before they were leaving for a tour. And they go, hey, we're leaving tomorrow morning. Our sound engineer can't come. You were recommended. Do you want to go? And I was like, tomorrow? They were like, yeah, tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's go.
Hell yeah.
So I read the Facebook message, looked at my girlfriend who was sitting on the couch next to me like you, and was like, hey, I'm going on tour tomorrow. And she goes, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, look at this message. And she's like, you have to go. Like you this is what you've been waiting for. This is what you've been building up toward. Like, go for it. Go get out there. So then I started working with them. And I'd come home, I'd do some stuff at the Saint. But working with them, I took over doing all their bar stuff, which is what got me into doing a lot of bar bands and that scene. Which led naturally to me, doing a lot more freelance, kind of moving away from the Saint as other people took my days at the Saint over. Because it's at one point at the Saint, I was doing 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I just slowly started to hand those days off to other people, whatever. And then got myself down. I think I was doing just Tuesdays, and the Tuesday was rare. You'd get like one Tuesday a month. Mm-hmm. So I was like barely working at the Saint anymore, and I was like, I really don't work here that much. Like. I should just go, let me go find whatever I'm going to do next. So I, when the Mataree Band they didn't really slow down, but I was looking for more steady work. I kind of ended up moving from them to, I can't remember, I'm trying to remember if I think the Mataree Band breakup happened before I got the gig at the Saint, the Strand, the theater. I think that was the reason for me going to the Strand, was that the Mataree Band fell apart. But yeah, to answer your question, I worked at the Saint for, 6 years. And then I was at the Strand, was the only other venue I've ever been at for a long time. I was at the Strand Theater for maybe 3 years. Mm-hmm. I think 2.5, 3 years, yeah, I was there for.
Fuck yeah.
And then, the Strand I loved working there, but the pay was low. It's not great, but it's much better now. But the pay there was low. I needed to make more, and I got the hunger for the road again.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding a gig then with Remember Jones. And I took that gig, went on the road with them a couple times, which led right into COVID and shutting the world down.
Yeah. Sick. That's funny. A couple things that I kept thinking about when you were talking was, the first one, you simply just asked, how do I work here, to the owner of or to whoever was at the Saint.
Yeah,
I think that's the first step that most people don't understand. It's like, you have to ask. Like,
Yeah,
you have to ask how to do, like, ask the people, like, you know, if we're talking on the couch, okay, we can ask each other all day long, like, how do we do this? How do we do this? But, like, you got to ask the people that are doing it.
Yeah, that's correct.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
how to get into these spaces. I remember I was with Mike at Stockton, and we were sitting in front of house, and this girl came up to Mike and was like, hey, like, I'm taking some audio classes, and, like, you know, I would like to get into doing this stuff. And Mike's like, okay. And she's like, are you guys hiring? And Mike was like, I was waiting for you to ask, you know, like, and he's like, yeah, we'd love to have another girl on the crew or whatever. And whatever, you know, just like awkward silence for like 3 minutes. She was expecting him to be like, oh, go. But she's like, can I work for you? And he's like, definitely.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that girl again, because the second thing is that once you do ask and someone gives you a little shot, like, you got to follow up. Like, people are always like, Mike always says the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I feel like
That's absolutely true.
it's like you feel like you're annoying people, but like, even if you are annoying people, that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong.
Yes.
You know, and like, you need to like go out of your way to call the people a couple times. And like, I don't know, a few of my friends like that have brought his camera operators, like, Ted doesn't call me. I'm like, Ted doesn't call me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's correct.
so I'm like,
So-
Ted's Mike's best friend that manages K-Sound and manages a lot of the gigs that we do, and he staffs all of the gigs. So if you want to work for Mike, you gotta get to know Ted. And so it's like, for the longest time, like, I mean, I knew Mike very well before I knew Ted very well. And that was the thing that drove me crazy, is I always would circumvent the system, I would call it, and be like, Mike, please get me on this gig. And he would just be like, just show up, you're fine. Yeah. But for like a lot of people, if you don't know Mike, you can't really do that. So you gotta like call Ted, right? Because he's just gonna forget. Like, he's just a dude like living his life, and fucking he just goes home to the digs and like's gotta take care of his dogs and like gotta fucking make sure this is running and all that. It's like, he's not thinking about 10,000 people at the same time. So it's like, who's the first one on his mind? Just who's the first. That's the bottom line. It's who's the first one on his mind. If you can be the first one on someone's mind, when the opportunity shows up, they'll just fucking call you.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a big thing about just getting into, honestly, whatever fucking field you want to do. Like, anything you want to do. Even if it's super corporate, like, those guys still hire on the same basis of like, are you going to get the job done? And are you a person I like to be around? You know,
Definitely.
like, and then if they forget about you, like, whose fault is that? It's not their fault. They're running a fucking company.
Yeah, that's correct. Take note that if you're not getting the call, that means that somebody else is filling that spot that you want to be filling. Keep calling. Someday, that guy's not available. He's sick. He's out. He's on vacation. You never know. You keep calling. One day, you're going to get that spot.
You literally
And then
never
you're
know.
on the call list. And while, yes, you know, being on the call list doesn't necessarily mean you get the call. It's good to be on the call list. And you also, like I said, keep calling.
You know what I'm getting now, because you're on the road so much? Every LED gig from Mike. I was like, oh, great. Like,
I bet.
Yeah, I got like fucking 4 on the calendar already for this year, and I noticed they're all on Saturdays, and you're doing all the Weekend Warrior stuff with Murr. You're
Yes.
probably booked. So I'm like,
there were a few that I was like, no way. How is it that we have 2 gigs in January and 2 gigs in February, and I'm already doing no gigs on both of them?
I have those. I'm doing the upstate New York one and the Starland one. I just got those in like
The Starland one is a great one because it's a nice, easy build.
acid wash.
If they're, I'm assuming that you're doing the same, you know, they're gonna bring the truss in, you're gonna hang it on the truss, and then they're gonna fly it out for you.
Yeah.
Super easy build. Those guys help you build it because they want it done.
Yeah,
and
I know.
over with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'm glad, like, it's like the Starland is just so small, but they have good help, and that's like the easiest combo ever.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, that's very true. Like I will say this is that no matter what, you can be in the crappiest little venue in the world. But if you have a good crew there, you're gonna have a good show. You could be in the nicest venue in the world, the nicest theater that you've ever walked into, and have a bad crew and have a bad show. I know, because it's happened to me so many times.
Yep.
When I did the Wizards tour not this past winter, but the 2 winters before that, that tour lived and died by how good the house crews were.
Yeah.
We could go into some places that it was a tiny little itty bitty theater with the stage had a rake to it, the back room, the dressing rooms were up 3 flights of stairs. You never know what you're gonna get. But a great crew can make the shittiest venue so much nicer.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's like a big thing is like, are you going to be a great crew? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I remember when I first got hired by K-Sound, you were like, oh, we love this kid. He's just straight vibes, like, or whatever. And I didn't know shit. I just was following Mike around, like, fucking clueless. And we're like, all right, he can hang out, like, whatever.
I've always been that way, though. Like, for me, I know, because since I started, I've chased the knowledge of how to do everything in this industry. I never wanted there to be a stopping point for me, so as an audio engineer, I was like, oh, hey, here's a lighting designer who needs help, and I started helping him and learning how to do all that stuff. Oh my God, I forgot my point. What were you saying?
Good hang.
So instead of chasing somebody who has all the knowledge, I have the knowledge. I need somebody who's there who wants to work, and you definitely wanted to work. And also I need somebody who's gonna keep my spirits high when they get low because the gear's not working. I don't necessarily need somebody next to me who's gonna troubleshoot the same gear I'm troubleshooting. I need somebody there who's gonna be like, we're gonna get through together. We're persevere. We're in the trenches. Also, do you need me to do anything while you're troubleshooting that? Like plug in some cables or something. I'll be like,
yes.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And I think even that's why, like, Vince succeeded with Mike.
Great example.
Like Vinny boy.
Yeah,
shout out Vinny boy. He, Vince was like the quietest kid, like just so shy, just so like did not want to extrovert himself whatsoever, whatsoever. But he wanted to learn. Like he tried hard. No matter what the fuck we said, he would fucking lift the thing. And dude, like, even if it's soaking wet, like it was at Seton Hall a couple of months ago, like, Vinny boy was soaked literally to the bone.
Literally.
To the bone.
Literally.
All of us are in, like, our fucking high-tech jackets and shit. Motherfucker shows up in, like, absolutely no clothing.
Sweatshirt,
yeah.
dude. He was
it's freezing
soaked.
cold, raining like a motherfucker. Vince gets soaked. He did not complain one time. Kid does not fucking complain. Kid does not ask for more when he doesn't think he deserves more. You know, it's just like, he's just simply there to work and he's there to learn. And he's just like, cool. Like, Vince is good vibes. Like, Vince is cool as fuck, you know? So it's like, damn, we're down to teach Vince. I'm like, I don't need someone who's the coolest kid in school. Like, I just need fucking the good hang. And I think that was even more like obvious when we were on tour. Because, like when you're on a tour bus or like anything like that, it's like you're such close quarters.
Definitely.
So even if like, and I'm very hot-headed. Like I'll blow up like quick, but then I'll always be like, I try to apologize quick also, and like just like, okay, like how do we keep going? Like how do we continue this? Where it's like, I don't know, like, yeah, you definitely get put through the fire when you're in that close quarters situation. Live stuff puts you through the fire too. But then it's like, all right, how long are we hanging on to this shit? You know, can we get through the fucking load in and then be friends again?
Yeah, correct.
It's like, are we gonna like hate each other for 3 years? You know, it's like, no, we can't be doing that.
Also, yeah, you definitely don't hold the grudges like this. And if you're gonna be in this industry, you're gonna bump heads with people. 10 minutes after you bump heads with that person, you just walk up and apologize. Everybody's cool. Everybody gets hot-headed, especially when stuff's not working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing I learned, that the biggest thing, it's like being emotional isn't a bad thing. Obviously, I want to be the person that can hold it together in every single situation. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
I'm
not there yet.
We all want to be Dave Hroshak, but
Dave's
nobody can be Dave Hroshak but Dave Hroshak.
Yeah.
I don't know how that guy, he's like, everything could be crumbling around him. The earth could be like disintegrating. He'd be like, well, I guess we're going down with the ship.
Dave's such a G. Yeah, and everybody, and I'm sure we'll get there, right? Dave's a lot older than us, and it's like he's been doing it a long time, and he's seen all this shit. So I think it really takes a long time to get there. But up until we get there, I think a lot of people are afraid to fail, or afraid that like that they won't be enough. And it's like, guess what? You won't. You won't be enough. Yeah. But the show will probably still happen. Yes. And like that's the coolest part about it, is like you're probably gonna fuck up a bunch and get pissed and get sad and get mad and piss somebody else off, and they're gonna piss you off. But like then the show happens, and then if you can all be friends, then you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of like life too. Like it all just happens and then we move on.
Right.
Like whatever. But yeah, that's funny. What else we got? What else we got? We're in your beautiful studio here. Yes, all you can see is the logs because we were too lazy to set everything else up. But that's kind of the point of this podcast, is that we don't need to show we're looking at like the dopest fucking studio in front of us, and we just show the logs. But there's 2 drum kits right here. There's fucking 4 pianos right here. There's the mixing room that's in the back, soundproof mixing room. What's that, vocal recording room in the back over there. So we're at McMuffin fucking put up all this wood by his own goddamn hands.
Well, not just me. It was
Yes,
I
Eric.
had help, but it was us. It was there was 3-4 of us that put the whole studio together for sure.
So this is definitely, obviously, a long time dream coming into fruition here of all the things that you love. And
yeah, exactly.
I'll do, for anybody that gives a fuck at the end, we'll do just like a quick show a dirty show with the camera just to show the room. But if this woodwork alone isn't enough to tell you that it's a beautiful space, like it really is a beautiful space. So how'd you meet Eric? And then
Eric and I met through the Mattery band. He was the organ player in that band when I started working with them. And naturally, because he and I are very similar personality-wise, we hung out a lot when we were on tour together, which kind of just naturally led to us, hanging out a lot. But I only worked for the band for a long time until Eric actually got a DUI and couldn't drive himself to work. So he offered me to move into the basement at the old house that he lived at. I'd pay my rent by driving him to work in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no problem. That's a decent deal. It's not a luxurious basement, but it gives me a place outside of my mom's house. And I had just moved back to my mom's house I lived with my girlfriend in Tom's River.
Okay.
It was her family's place.
Okay.
Her parents owned it, but we lived in it.
Yeah.
So when I moved out of there, I moved back with my mom for a couple months. It was like 2-3 months. And then he was like, dude, why don't you move into my basement? I was like, yeah, done. I need to get the fuck out of my mom's house again. So I did. And when he started going to work, he had a buddy from work drive him to work every morning. So, because he lived around the corner. So I didn't end up having to drive him to work. I got free rent, which was awesome. But we only lived there for like 6-7 months.
Okay.
Actually, I think I moved in there in July. By December, he had bought this house. He had the tour bus taken apart in the driveway, and one of the neighbors had left him a really kind of awful note about like, oh, you're scum, clean up your yard, whatever, things along that line. And he was like, dude, I fucking had it. This is like, there's no shelter in this neighborhood. Everybody can see everything I'm doing. I'm going to find a place where we're on like a farm or something like that, where I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to pull the transmission and engine out of my tour bus, I can do it.
Yeah.
So he, looked around and he found this place. Both houses The big barn wasn't here, but
Yeah.
both houses and the little barn were here, or the little.
So we're
garage
in
were
the
here?
big barn right now, and there's 2 other houses and a little shed on the property.
Yes, correct. So all of the other buildings were here. He got it for $280,000. He stole this place basically.
Wild. And we're in Neptune, New Jersey, by the way. Like 20 minutes from the ocean.
It's it's like the last little forested property in Neptune.
Probably less than
like,
that, 15.
It's
Yeah.
close to the parkway, close to.
And how big is it? It's like
Asbury.
an acre and a half?
Yeah, 1 3/4 acres.
Crazy.
Gorgeous property.
In Monmouth County, how you doing?
Yeah, it's a great spot to live. But that's how I ended up starting to live with Eric, and now like I said, we've lived together now for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
We've been in this house for 10 years. And then a few months or whatever before that. So yeah, I've known the guy for a very long time.
So what's up with the barn? How did this happen?
This was, well, Eric always wanted a recording studio for himself to use for his bands and all that. As evident by he has a tour bus, he will let nothing rest until he has what he wants.
Right.
So this was one of those where he knew what he wanted, and he started chasing the dream. During COVID, when they shut the world down, I wasn't working. So instead of me paying my rent, I was paying my rent by he and I were coming out here every day. We leveled the entire ground for this building. But by the end of March, like they shut the world down in March 2020, like the first week of March, I think it was like the 6th or the 9th or something like that. I can't remember exactly. By the end of March, the building was ready to go onto this property. By the first week of April, it was up. Like the building was standing, sided and everything, because we had Amish people that came and did it in 2 days. So like it took us I think 2 weeks to get the ground ready, and then 2 days for them to put the building up.
That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Insane. And then we've just that happened. I mean, that happened probably 6 years ago or 7 years ago that the building was finished. I think 6 years ago that the building was finished.
Keep talking.
And then we've just, we've just been slowly building the inside out since then.
Cool. I'm just making sure we're still going here.
Yeah.
This thing also has got a record limit on it.
Oh, it's got a timer.
Fucking Sony cameras don't record 4K for over 28 minutes or some shit like that.
so
That's why I was
silly.
like, what are we at? And I saw 28 minutes. I was like, oh,
Whoopsie.
right there. Which it's just the backup anyway because we're recording into OBS. But you can like hack the thing. Supposedly it overheats, but it doesn't.
I did that on my 6000s.
Yeah, is it hard? I
And
feel like it's
it's
not.
easy to do.
Yeah.
But the 6000s overheat.
They
If
do
If
overheat.
you don't pull this, but the 6000s had that problem no matter what.
Yeah,
They always
yeah.
overheat. If you didn't pull the screen off the body, they would just overheat because the screen would heat the body.
Oh,
the
right,
compound
right.
heat between the two. Like they really needed something in there to help mitigate some of that.
Interesting.
I wonder if adding a heat sink.
I was just thinking that the heat sinks for like the SSDs.
Yeah, I wonder if just adding like a little heat sink to the back. You wouldn't be able to close the screen all the way anymore, but
Still,
it would mitigate that problem, I'm sure.
that's funny as hell.
Because you take the record limit off the camera, but then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
camera's going to overheat, so that's a record limit in and of itself. Maybe it'll last 45 minutes, but then it overheated at 45 minutes, and then you had to go back to the camera to hit record again.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing us a favor. Yeah, okay. Cool. My buddy did it with his A7 II and said it wasn't really, like the thing got hot, but it could still handle it. It would still go. And also, this thing, I've never had it overheat, and the first like real, well, not really. I put it to like the weather test in Panama when I was there for the second time, when I finally had like my real camera setup going, and just it's so fucking hot down there, like the sun is so brutal, and I would just have like, you can only like, cover it so much, but at some point it would be like left in the sun. I think the first couple days I didn't have like that good of a cover, and so it was either like kind of the lens is exposed or some of the body's exposed, and I would be like, oop, like that thing's fucking hot as shit. And it still worked, and then you get caught in the rain, and I'm like, okay. My buddy who had, it's funny because these cameras, the nicer ones that are weather sealed, my buddy Reese, who actually gave me this camera that started my dude was such a diesel photographer in Hawaii. He had all these Canon cameras and then started trading on the stock market. I went over to his house to like buy a camera from him. And he was like, all right, like at the time, this was like worth like 15 or 1600, maybe like $2,000. And he was like, I'll sell it to you for like $900. And I was like, game.
Yeah.
I was like, but I need you to send me something so I can pay it through my company's business account, like, and I can write it off. And he like never sent me an invoice. And then a year later, he's like, just keep the camera. And I'm like,
That's
like,
awesome,
so
dude.
sick.
That's cool.
But he was telling me, he was like, oh, dude, like, I accidentally left my Canon outside in the rain, and I woke up, and it was still on and outside. And, like, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, good on the weather seal. So buy quality, it's worth it.
Definitely buy quality.
So then the studio's been a long time coming, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you really used it too much for recording?
We haven't done like a proper like recording session in here yet. A lot of bands have used it for rehearsal space. Very soon, Colossal Street Jam, I believe, is going to come in and cut some new tracks, or at least parts of new tracks, and get like kind of a demo feel of what they're going for, whether they actually cut the final version of the song here or not. I know they're definitely gonna use the space a little bit to do some stuff and be able to record and listen back and figure out parts and here and there and stuff like that. So,
okay, cool. What do you want to talk about? What do you like?
I don't know.
You want to do a stream soon, don't you?
I do actually, yeah. So that's one of the things I'm going to try and get into is doing a gaming podcast stream kind of thing. I want it to be. I have two ideas. One is where it's just a group of us. We're hanging out, we're drinking a little bit, and we're just progressively getting worse and worse at the game over the course of the night, and everybody's just having a good time. Maybe that's open for people to come join us through Discord or whatever and play the games with us or something. And then my other idea I want to do is where we buy a really cheap game, and we play that for the night. Something that's like really cheap and looks cheap, and that we may not enjoy, but we're gonna do it anyway, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. You'll get a couple laughs out of it, and who knows, maybe we'll discover a fucking hidden gem that costs, $2 or something like that.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Just to have people over.
Yeah.
Continue a little. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it'll probably. I don't know what we're looking at filming probably this week sometime. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think we're gonna do the cheap stream. I think we're gonna do it called $2 Tuesday. So I think we're gonna film that next Tuesday.
Okay.
And I think this weekend I'm gonna have a couple people over on like Saturday or Sunday morning or something like that, and we'll just set it up and do it real quick and play something like Drunk Mario Kart or something like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe I'll do Sunday. That way it's more, the day drinking is more accessible.
Yeah, right. It's funny. So when I started this podcast, I felt like there was a lot of older people. Like I was in a networking group for a while. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
I told you about that? Yeah. That's how I met George McMorrow. I was going to ask you, actually, Adam Weisberg, do you know who that is? Because he used to own the
Yes, I was
owner
just
of the
going to
Saint.
say, he owned the Saint when I first started working
Adam
there.
Weisberg was the one that introduced me to George McMorrow. He was in my networking group.
Okay.
Yeah. I met Adam first. I actually used him for 2 traffic tickets.
Nice.
But yeah, Adam was like, let me show you who you should meet, and then took me to, or told me to go to Seaside. George was shooting a music video for Williams Honor, Gordon Brown and Reagan Richards, who are 2 of my faves, and and then the rest is history. Like kind of just camera work and everything like that. But shooting with George. But I got into this podcast because I felt like there was a lot of like older people like that I would meet, And I'm like, they like just spit knowledge at me
Right.
like constantly. I'm like, how do I like? And then when you say it back to someone else, like through, at the time, like a 23-year-old's mouth, they're like, yeah, okay,
Right.
all right, kid, like, yeah. But I'm like, no, but like a really successful lawyer told me this. Like, swear to God. But like, it doesn't really work unless it's out of like their mouth. And now that I'm like kind of gaining a little bit more traction in my own, life, and it's a little bit more tangible, people can see, like, they might start to listen a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it still came from like, okay, so how do I take what I had been told and listen to, and I know the shit's gonna work, and maybe you don't see me like, I'm not a millionaire yet, but fucking I know the formula. And so I'm like, how do I take these lessons and give it back and like filter it through my mouth, so then maybe someone my age can like hear it and digest it a little bit better.
I definitely can relate to that, because now especially I have a lot of people who they'll come right to me and be like, hey, I'm having an issue and how do I fix it? I'll be like, oh yeah, you just do this. And that came from years of doing this, but also that wasn't the case when I was younger. I would suggest things to people knowing the answer to their problem, and they'd be like, yeah, whatever. And then 20 minutes later, they'd be like, hey, you were right. And I'd be like,
I know.
I told you 20 minutes ago. You could have been done, and we could have been eating dinner now.
I know. Yeah, and like, so I always get back to like these like humbling stories as like the most valuable for people to learn from, and just be like, what's some shit that you got humbled on, or like you have a story that you always think of, like some shit that like was like a big teacher for you, or like maybe someone older that like fucking schooled you one day, and then you look back and then that they were right, and now you're the guy that's right.
So there were a number of times when I worked at the Saint, because it was Asbury Park, you'd have a lot of other sound engineers from the town who would come in and hang out, and just every once in a while, somebody would come up and offer a piece of advice. Luckily, I was smart enough to, after, giving them the quick brush off, take into my head like, oh wait, what did they just say to me? Like, let me listen and think about what they just actually said. Is there something to? One of the things I'll never forget, my buddy Nishit, who does not live in Asbury anymore. I think he moved to Arizona or Nevada, but he comes up and he goes, man, it sounds like the bass is like really, like, I like compression on the bass, but it sounds like the bass is like really over compressed. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then sure enough, I flip over to the bass channel and it is squashing it. And it was because the band before, I needed so much compression, and now we're on the next band. He heard it before I heard it, that it was just slamming the bass. Also, he was a bass player, so of course he heard it first. He was listening to the bass first. But ever since then, I kind of have been like, all right, I especially need to like think about, if somebody comes up and says something, yeah, okay, I'm the professional, but also they're hearing something. What are they hearing? Especially when it's a fellow professional in the industry.
So hard not to take it personally.
It sometimes it is, but like any asshole can walk up and tell you, oh, I can't hear the vocals. And you listen and you're like, dude, I can hear the vocals just fucking fine. It's probably the singer's fucking girlfriend and she wants to hear him more. And she just does this at every fucking venue. Not everybody has the correct opinion. However, I will say that everybody's opinion has some kind of value,
right?
Whether it's incorrect or not.
Yeah.
They're hearing something.
Yeah.
And everybody's ear canals are shaped different, so everybody hears your mix completely different than you hear your mix. It took me a long time to learn that, and then it also took me a long time to learn that my right ear canal and left ear canal are shaped totally different. So this ear hears differently than this ear.
Yeah.
Totally differently.
Life is
a
perception.
lot of people are like that, and they don't even fucking know it.
Yeah, I think that's like simply like life is all about perception.
Totally is about perception.
Yeah.
For
It's
me,
like you never really know. Like there's not one true truth. Because like what sounds like shit to somebody else could sound okay to somebody else and could sound great to another person.
yeah,
And those three things can be equally true at the same time.
absolutely. I'll give you a great example, okay? When I was in high school, death metal was absolutely the thing. It was what everybody was listening to. I loved Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. The natural progression would have been to go to that style of music. I liked Metallica. I did not enjoy death metal. There are plenty of death metal bands that are amazing. And now I go back and listen to some of them and I'm like, all right, I missed out on this one. Mm-hmm. This is a good song by this band. But like so many of them I didn't like.
Yeah.
And it's just like my opinion was wrong when I said they were bad bands because they weren't bad bands. They just weren't my cup of tea.
Yeah, what was true is you didn't like them.
That's correct.
And that's fine. Like, but they are, yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot to like, okay, well, why are they successful though?
Nailed it. How come they have such a big following? Well, they must be doing something right.
Right. Yeah. I think that goes like a little full circle to like when someone in the industry or just someone like, okay, well, this person, maybe I took what they said to heart and maybe I didn't like what they said to me, or maybe they were being an asshole. Maybe that's true too. But they're doing what I want to be doing. Yeah. Like they're the guy that's on tour with the bands that I want to be with.
Correct.
So what are they doing? Okay, so maybe that's like take a step back and like, well, maybe they weren't nice and didn't consider my feelings, but they're still touring with the bands I want to be with. And that's the most valid reason to listen to them, because if you want to be doing that, then you should listen to those people.
Yes.
Whether they're nice, whatever.
The sound engineer for the Beach Boys springs to mind.
Okay.
The first time we worked with him, he was nice enough, but not to everyone.
Right.
The second time we worked with him, he was a much nicer guy. He had seen us all before. He knew that he was what to expect and we were going to have a good day. But man, the first time we worked for him, he was not a very nice gentleman. However, still the sound engineer for the fucking Beach Boys. So like, dude must be pretty good at what he does.
Must be doing something right.
That's it. Like, okay, your interaction with him wasn't a positive one on the first time you met him. It was on the second time. Well, maybe he was having a bad day on the first day. Like that's also a thing that happens a lot, especially when you're on the road. You wake up one morning, you never wake up in your bed. You never know if you're waking up to coffee or not. So like sometimes you wake up not in your bed, not to coffee, and your fucking socks are wet from the day before because you didn't have the chance to do clean laundry yet.
Yeah.
If you get the trifecta like that, you're going to be cranky when you get into the venue.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a great point. I met, when I was in Vegas for SEMA, the auto show, I was working for my buddy Elliot's company for the first time. Shout out Light Labs. And he, while I was there, he was like the company that we were getting contracted from, which was Astound. They do a ton of work in Vegas. And obviously great people to be in contact with. They were like, I met this dude, Ray, and Ray is very short with people.
Okay.
But Ray is a badass. Like, Ray is a fucking badass. Like, he's doing shit that people would love to do. Like, I believe he's a carpenter, because he's handling a lot of, like, the builds and, like, the construction teams with the crew. But if you're a carpenter and you want to travel and live a sick life or work for SEMA, F1, like, you know, Ray's the guy, right? And I don't necessarily want to be a carpenter, but I do want to be successful like Ray. And when I met him, he said some comment that I was just like, what? Like, why the fuck would you say that? Like, it wasn't even like bad, but I was like, meh. But it was like about Elliot, who I love dearly. And it wasn't even like a bad comment. It was just like kind of like Ray just saying shit. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Come to find out he's Ray. And like, then Elliot's like, I need you to go over to the F1 building. They need you to rig something for the ceiling for like the Vegas race that's going on. There's like no one there that understands like real rigging. Like, we just want to make sure like it's hung straight and it's safe. I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, go over and make sure that we're using like gack with the fucking tied right. You know, it's all that shit. Okay, this is shackle, quarter shackle. We're good. And so I go over there and Ray's in charge. And immediately, you know, Ray's just doing his thing. Okay, this, that. And it wasn't working out. Like, the build, like, was different on paper. They never got this new, like, spec, or they never got this new drawing spec'd from an engineer.
Okay.
And then so I'm like, no, this is making me uncomfortable. And Ray just, like, kind of didn't really give a fuck because why? Like, he's got a ton of other things that he's dealing with. And like dealing with him that day, I think I got a little bit hot, and he was like, you know, and he tried to be like, hey, like when stuff's not working out, you don't need to be hot. And I was like, fuck you, Ray. Like, fuck you. I don't even know you. Like, fucking telling me what to do. Like, I came here to represent my boy. Like, blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of had an idea about him last trip, right? That first trip. So then I go back to Vegas for CES, an even bigger build.
Okay.
And who the fuck is the first person that's I see? It's fucking Ray, of course. Right. And then the whole time, I'm like, they are bringing up Ray, and I was like, yeah, but he was kind of like weird to me at F1. They're like, no. Like, he's dope. Like, just shut up. Like, he's cool. Like, he's cool. Like, they're like, trust me, he's cool. And I was like, I don't know if he is. They're like, he's cool. Like, trust me. So then I'm like, all right, he's probably cool because all the Astound guys are saying he's cool. Elliot likes him, who I was trying to fucking defend in the first place, you know what I mean? Defend his honor. I'm like, if Elliot's saying he's cool, then he must be cool. So I'm like, all right, let's drop all the bullshit. And I'm just like, hi, Ray. It's good to see you again. You know, and then he's like, hey, buddy, good to see you. And like, whatever. And then you kind of start to understand people's style and how they work and how they are. And like, come to find out that, you know, he is a badass motherfucker. He is very, very cool. If you get past that, you know, initial, you know, thing, he's a fucking workhorse. He's not worried about what you're feeling. He's just getting his job done. He's just being like the man he's hired to be. I'm sure that he's amazing to all his friends and like the guy you want to be around when he's with all his friends. But right now we're not friends. Like, we're getting a fucking job done. You know what I mean? And so it was just like, all right, let me drop the fucking act here. Like, obviously, if Astound is hiring him to be the lead on all this stuff, like, they see him. The Astound guys like him. The Astound guys like me. So we must all be in the same circle of likeness. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. So I think those are funny little ego moments where you just gotta like drop the act and be like, okay, there's a reason why this guy is here and this guy is in charge. And I might not like him, but okay, I can take advice from him. And I can listen to other people that like him, you know, and be like, okay, I get it. All right.
I think great advice I got was you can't please everyone. Everyone's not going to like you, and you're not going to like everyone. But we've all got to... We're all here to do, like, especially when we're doing a gig, we're all here to do the same thing. Like, even on this planet, we're all here to live. Like, everybody needs to chill, like, calm down. Like, it's not so bad. And I get, okay, some people are starving. If you're starving in the world, go to your neighbor and say, hey, I did not eat food today. I guarantee you they're going to go in their fridge and they're going to go make you a fucking sandwich. I promise you they're going to do it. The niceness of your neighbor when you ask for help, they're there. But the problem is we've all been pitched against each other, so we're not offering help to each other. But the second somebody asks you for help, I promise, in the back of your head, you're gonna go, "Fuck, I need to help this person right now."
Yeah,
like I have to.
Humanity wins.
Yeah, correct. It's how people are programmed. We will come together to help each other, but the narrative is that you shouldn't trust your fellow man, and that's just not fucking right.
It's not right. No, it's not right. And even if you don't like them, right? Like, you gotta believe that humanity wins. Yeah. Even if it's that person that you're not really, like, 9 times out of 10, like the 90% of people that aren't fucked will make you the sandwich. You know what I mean? You just gotta believe that. You just gotta believe that.
Yeah, correct. Also, if your neighbor's not going to make you a sandwich, go to your next neighbor because that neighbor's a dick.
Exactly. Just try one more time. Fuck yeah. Got it?
Sure.
Okay.
Nice.
That's a good one.
You can't go on anyone else's trip. You can only go on your own trip until you find out it's all our trip. And when we get home, we all get back with great tales of trips, except we all took the trip together.